today. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and get your cup of joe or tea or wine or whatever it is that is your beverage of choice today, and a notepad and a pen, because you're going to want to take some notes today or some of the things I'm going to go over. So you are on this webinar to learn how to brand beyond compare, and I'm going to talk about the 5 mistakes that I see women entrepreneurs making over and over again. And I want to preface this by saying I don't typically like to focus on mistakes. Usually in my communications, I don't really talk about it that much, but mistakes typically are things that you don't know, right? So I felt it was really important to add to the conversation around brand and branding as it relates to women entrepreneurs in their business, because this is something, like I said, some of these things I see happening over and over again, and they're really critical blocks as to what's going on with your business and why you're not having a level of success that you want to be having. So this week in the United States, if you are like me, you are planning for a Thanksgiving celebration with your maybe friends and family. And so I want to keep this webinar moving pretty quickly today. I know that your time is valuable, and I greatly respect the fact that you have taken some time out to hang out with me today. So in light of that, like I said, because it's this crazy holiday week, I do want to keep the webinar to about 45 minutes. And, you know, I build in a little time for Q&A if there is a need for that. But I want to get you in and get you out and get you on your way with some information that you can use, as well as a few other goodies that I have in store for you today. So if you are ready to get started, I am ready to get started as well. So I'm going to hit the screen sharing mode here and move into that, and you'll see me again after the webinar. If you want to go ahead and post questions as they come up for you in the chat feature, I'll go back through after the presentation today, after the webinar, and answer any questions that you may have around anything that I've talked about, any branding challenges that you may be having in your business that I didn't address today and you want to get some clarity on. I'm happy to stay and answer those for you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, you are here for the Brand Beyond Compare webinar. 5 mistakes you don't even know you are making with your brand. And look at that, I just found a typo here and I thought I had fixed that. So sorry for that. I'm going to point that out to you already so you don't have to point it out to me. I know, I see it. That's what happens sometimes. So first things first, I want to welcome you to the webinar today. You are on the Webinar Ninja platform, and there, as you can see, there's a chat box for you to ask questions, post comments. I'll wait, like I said, I'll wait until the end and circle back to answer your questions. So feel free to jot them down or post them in the chat box and I'll check on them. And again, I'll stay on until all your questions are answered. I don't have a limit on this. I'm not going to jump off if you still have things that you want to get clarification on around your brand and your business. So, and I want to encourage you to stay till the end of the webinar. I have a thank you gift for you, as well as a special opportunity that I'm going to talk about here in a moment. I know this is hard, but I would encourage you to minimize distractions during our time here together. Your time is valuable, like I said before, and I want to make sure that you get the most out of today's training. This is not a fluff training. This is really solid, actionable things that you can start to do to get your brand in alignment and get clarity so you can get to where you want to be with your business. I know as a former special education teacher, it can be sometimes hard to maintain focus while you're multitasking. So, you know, you might want to shut down some of those tabs on your browser. If you're like me, you have 57,000 tabs open at any given time. Maybe put that cell phone away for just a little while. And so please be present so you can get as much as possible out of today's training. You, your brand, and your business definitely deserve it. And also, I want you to think about coming into this with a beginner's mind. Oftentimes we're inundated with so much information that it's so easy to say, well, I already know that, or I've already heard that. But I want you to really think about this information today as it relates to your brand and your business, and look at it with a different lens, a different perspective, which can be difficult because when we're in our brand and our business, that's our unique sort of fisheye lens that we have around what's going on. So I would highly encourage you to think about all of these things today with a beginner's mind and how you can apply it to your brand and your business. So this is me, who I am. If you're meeting me for the very first time, I'm Danielle M. Miller, and I'm a branding specialist for amazing women entrepreneurs. I've spent the last 5 years teaching and coaching women on how to craft a brand that attracts your good fit clients, otherwise known as those dream clients, positions you as a leader in your area of expertise, and generates more revenue in your business. On the personal side, I have some pictures here that really represent who I am outside of my business. This past year, I fulfilled a lifelong dream of writing a book that became an Amazon bestseller called Smarty Pants Branding, the ultimate guide for women entrepreneurs to getting recognized, being remembered, and making more money in their business. And that was really a huge accomplishment in my life. It was something that I had always wanted to do. I had stopped and started several times around writing a book, and I finally accomplished it. And there may be book number 2 in the making as well. Being able to do the work that I do has afforded me some incredible opportunities, and one of my favorite ones has been speaking at the National Association of Professional Women's Conference. You can see down there at the bottom, I was in some pretty illustrious company with Star Jones and Kim Garst and Sarah Blakely. Martha Stewart was a keynote speaker at that particular event. I got to have lunch with her and Ariana Huffington, and it's one of those things that having your own business is it's remarkable in that it allows you to have some of these incredible opportunities pop up if you're willing to put yourself out there a little bit. I'm also a mom. I have 3 amazing children. You can see my daughter in her wedding picture right there. She just got married last month, actually. That's a pretty recent picture of all of us. And my sons, both who are presently serving and formerly serving in the armed services, Marine Corps and Navy, respectively there. And then at the bottom, I have this adorable little guy that is my grandson, and he is absolutely the light of my life and brings me a lot of joy every single day. And I want to talk about the personal side, of who I am, because I think it's so important as a brand. We are often taught to get clear on our why. And what I have found in the work that I've done is we actually have 2 whys, two pretty big ones. And one is around the work that we do and the business that we want to have. But then there's our personal why. And it's why, it's the driving why behind everything that we do. For many of us, it's family. For many of us, it's certain values that we hold really, really dear to our hearts. Whatever those are, getting clear on those will help you craft a brand that truly represents who you are and how you want to show up each and every day. And so this is all this right here are my whys around what I do. A little bit of backstory about me. I started out as a life coach back in 2007. It was an extremely expensive hobby for me and a side hustle. And it wasn't until 2010 that I got really serious about this and due to some health challenges, that I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to move forward with a business or go back and get a job as a teacher. And the job just wasn't an option. I had a taste of autonomy and freedom with having a business, and it was something that I really wanted to continue, but I needed to craft a business that really could support the lifestyle that I wanted to have, and supported my values. So I got really serious about putting together this business that I wanted. And as I did that, I realized that I really wasn't completely happy with being a life coach. And I had moved into career coaching at that point. And it was there doing the career certification, the career invention certification course, that I really understood and really grasped what this branding piece meant and how important it was. And it was a huge light bulb for me. And because it was so profound with where I was in my business, I immediately decided that that's where I wanted to focus, specifically on this branding piece and how you could literally take the very best parts of who you are, what you do, what you stand for, how you can serve, and craft a brand around that. And so that's what I've been doing since 2010, and I love it every single day, and I'm always learning. I'm a perpetual student around this branding thing, and I'm continually refining my methodology and the way that I work with clients to make sure that I can deliver the best results possible. So now that you have learned a little bit about me, I want to really kind of start diving in here. So what can you expect from this training today? So what I'm sharing today comes, again, like I said, from over 5 years of experience working with women entrepreneurs like yourself and my own journey in having this service-based business. So what you can expect today is you're going to learn the difference between brand and branding. And this is probably one of the most critical, important pieces of crafting a brand that you will learn. And you'll see how important it is to understand the difference and to get clear on your brand before you start branding. You're also going to learn some of the things that are keeping your brand stuck. As I said, these mistakes are things that we don't know. I'm also going to talk about this, what I call peekaboo visibility, and how this is another way that your brand is not really living up to your expectations for you and your business. I'm going to cover the one thing that your brand must have, and the majority of women entrepreneurs don't have it. And I'm a little bit shocked by this, but it's true. And I'm also going to talk to you about what will keep your clients coming back time after time, that will create that consistency for you, that will give you the confidence to move your business forward and start being visible and attracting the clients that you want to be working with. So that is what we're going to be covering on today's webinar. And if you're ready to dive in, so am I. Plus, at the end of this time today, I'm going to talk to you about a very special coaching opportunity to help you brand beyond compare. And as I mentioned earlier, I have a thank you gift for you as well for your time today. So let's get started. Let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about what exactly a brand is. And this is, again, I'm not sure if I really counted this as a mistake, but it's a really big one that I see that's happening over and over again for women entrepreneurs, for creative entrepreneurs, for service entrepreneurs. Let me get a quick drink here. I'm going to leave you in suspense for a moment. So most of the time, what I find happens is women entrepreneurs think that their brand is their tagline or logo. Sometimes they think of it as their website. And that is not what your brand is. That is part of your brand, but it is not your brand. Your brand is a set of managed expectations around who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And this is really, really important. It's managed expectations. It's not about being something that you're not. It's not about crafting a persona, but it is about understanding who you're talking to, what they expect from you, what you can deliver on, and managing those expectations in a strategic way. It's also your reputation, your credibility, and your story. More than anything else, people don't buy your stuff. They buy how you make them feel. And so this is your reputation, your credibility, and your story is your opportunity to create those emotional connections with your ideal clients, with your good fit people. It's how you think of yourself, the work that you do, and how others perceive that. And a good way to think of this is it's really about the imprint you leave behind. You know, when you walk on the beach and you leave those footprints and somebody else comes along and maybe they try to put their foot in your print, or they walk alongside your prints. But it's really about that imprint that you leave behind. It's what is said when you're not around. It is what drives referrals to your business. It is what builds your credibility. It's what positions you as a leader in your particular area of expertise. So that's what a brand is. And this is so important, like I said before, because so many times I've seen really, really smart women get stuck around thinking that their brand is their logo. And they spend inordinate amount of time worrying about this and trying to get a logo exactly right before they have gotten clear on these particular things in their brand. So now that we know what a brand is, let's talk about the difference between brand and branding. And I like to use this analogy of a cupcake. And first of all, because it's a chocolate cupcake and I love chocolate and I like food a lot as well. So this analogy works for me really well. So a brand you can think of as the inner work that you do. It centers around your core values, those top 3 to 5 values in your life and business that are non-negotiables. And it's really important to get it narrowed down to 3 to 5, because if you have 10 to 15 values, your message gets muted. It gets diluted, diffused. It's not as powerful as when you stand up for these 3 to 5 things. It's you're drawing your own line in the sand. As I mentioned before, it centers around your why or your whys, the why of your business and the why that really drives everything that you do, the motivation. It's about defining your brand experience. When somebody puts their trust in you and they like you and they know you, what happens from that moment forward? It's about understanding that journey that a client is willing to take with you. It's about keeping your brand promise. What is the one thing that you can deliver on time and time again? This is where the consistency piece is so critical. And here's another little bonus mistake that I see that happens a lot is that we often don't think of a brand as ever evolving. But the truth of the matter is your brand is very dynamic and it will change and it will grow. It has to, right? Because your experiences expand you as a person. The people that you work with help you continually refine who those ideal clients are. Your journey in and of itself and staying relevant to how your clients learn and how they want to interact with you. All of those things are really relevant to your brand evolving. And so that's gonna happen, you know, whether that's a rebranding as you continually refine these things, an evolution of your brand, whatever that is. I find that a lot of women get stuck around this because they think they can't change. But when you can keep your brand promise over and over again, that's the consistency that draws people to you. That's really what that consistency piece is about. And at the end of the day, it's about the feelings and emotions you want to evoke in your good fit people. It's a deep understanding of how they feel right now, how they're going to feel when they work with you, and how they're going to feel after working with you. All of those you've got to get clear on. And those are all the inner ingredients of your brand. That's what makes up the cake part. And then we have the icing on the cake, the frosting, the sprinkles, everything that makes it pretty. This is the differentiation piece. This is why you choose one cupcake over another, right? So branding is the manifestation of your brand. It's how your brand shows up each and every day. So this could look like your tagline if you have one. It would look like your website, how you're visually representing yourself, your fonts, your colors, the imagery that you use, whether or not a logo is appropriate. Not everybody needs one. So, it's also your brand voice and tone, how you communicate with your good fit people, with your tribe. So that's really what the branding piece is. That's how your brand shows up. And as I said, it's the icing on the cake. And this is so important because here's the thing, when you get clear on your brand, when you understand those inner pieces, the branding piece, the icing, oh my gosh, it's so much more fun because you're clear. You know how, and this is, again, I'm relating a personal story here. I had worked with, when I first started out, I worked with a web designer, and she was in the same mastermind that I was. So obviously I gave her, my business. And I had no idea about these inner elements, these core elements of a brand. So I just knew that I liked yellow and green. Those are my favorite colors. And I didn't have a core message, and I didn't really have any kind of positioning. And that first website was hideous. I wish I had a screenshot of it. It was so bad. That's something else that's a really cool thing to do, is as your business grows and expand, take screenshots of website of each iteration of your brand, because you'll find it's such a great way to look back and go, oh my gosh. And I wish now that I had kept that so I could show you, because it's pretty bad. But I had no idea. I had no idea what all this meant. So it was hideous. So when you get clear on these core elements, then you understand how the color palettes that you choose relate to the feelings that you want your clients to have. You get how important your brand voice and tone is to your right people. You understand why it's important to have a brand blacklist of words that would never show up in your brand message. You understand how all of these things really work together to present this strong, aligned, and resonant brand. So that's the difference between brand and branding. Now let's move on to some of these mistakes that I see happening. I already gave you two that I hadn't even planned on, but the first one that I want to talk about is what I call the emulation effect. And this happens when you take on someone else's vision and message as your own. And as we all know in the online space, copycatting and lifting other people's work is rampant. It's all over the place. And that's not what I'm talking about here. That's a whole other brand issue that I'll probably do a webinar at some point in time on. But the emulation effect is really when you've started out, right? You're looking for role models. If you're a health coach, you're looking at other health coaches who are pretty high, up there. If you're a life coach, you're looking at other life coaches, right? If you're a business coach, you're looking at other business coaches. And Because branding is such an evolutionary process, typically we all start out emulating someone else. It's just natural. There's nothing wrong with that, just when you're starting out. The problem is after a couple of years or a year maybe, you start realizing that you're not connecting with your right people. With your message is not getting across in a way that truly represents who you are. And it's because you're still emulating someone else. And you've probably seen it. You've probably seen entrepreneurs out there who are very, very close match to another coach out there or consultant or creative entrepreneur. Sometimes it's knowing, but oftentimes it's just because you're so inside your brand you don't realize that you're emulating someone else so closely. And I get this a lot with clients because they'll oftentimes, when you work with a web designer, they'll want you to give them examples of websites that you like. And sometimes you end up with a carbon copy of that website, and that's not what you're going for. There are ways to differentiate yourself, ways to help you stand out from everybody else out there once you realize that you can't continue to emulate someone else. And again, like I said before, this is not a terrible, awful thing. We all typically start out this way. But you will move to a point where you realize that, okay, this emulating isn't going to cut it anymore. Not for where I want to go, not for the direction I want my business to be headed into, and not for what I want my brand to be. So that's a mistake that I see that happens a lot, is this emulation effect. The next mistake that I see happening is this compare and despair. And again, this we've all been caught up in, we've all done it. We've all been in this loop or this spiral where we're continually looking at what other people are doing and we find ourselves lacking. So-and-so's program is so much more awesome than the one I was putting together. Oh my gosh, that person came up with the perfect name for their program. I can't do mine now. That person just wrote a blog post about what I was going to write about. I'm going to scrap this. I can't do videos because this person looks so great and professional and polished on video, so why should I bother? This happens all the time. And again, I'm not sharing with you anything that I have not gone through myself at certain points in my entrepreneurial journey. But here's the thing, you've got to, it's one thing to look at what other people are doing, but if you realize that you are continually putting yourself in this place of lack or compare and despair, then you need to stop doing that. Now, for some people, it can be very motivating for them. One of my mentors, Angela Laria, she loves looking at what other people are doing and seeing the success that other people are having, because for her, it just opens up the possibilities of what she can accomplish. It opens up what her potential could be. And she's extremely successful already. So, she's looking at an expansion of that when she sees some of the other things that really, by her definition, successful business owners are doing. So for some people, it can be very motivating and inspiring. But for many of us, it just puts us into this spin cycle of comparison and coming up lacking. So if you find yourself doing that, you need to put your blinders on. You need to start narrowing your focus onto what you're doing and what your unique message is and how you can communicate that in your unique way so that there is no compare and despair. The next thing that I see often happening, and this is a big one. This is actually, they're all big, but this one is one kind of close to my heart because this is one I struggled with myself. And that's what I call peekaboo visibility. And that is thinking that putting something out there once or twice is being visible. I have been guilty of that for years. I would put together something. Maybe it was a blog post. I'd read a blog post and I put it out a couple times, and then I'd make myself crazy trying to come up with new content, and doing that whole cycle again of putting it out there a couple times and then going on to the next thing and having to make all new, create all new content again. And the fact of the matter is, or putting offers out there once or twice, and then if nothing happened, I'd be like, okay, well, nobody was interested. Getting clear on your brand helps you do away with this peekaboo visibility. And this is a huge one in the online space if you're an online entrepreneur. Visibility is probably one of the biggest words that I hear women entrepreneurs struggling with. And I can tell you from personal experience and from the work that I've done with clients, it's when you get clear on your brand and your branding falls into place, the visibility becomes a non-issue. And again, that's where that consistency piece comes in as well. You have to be consistent, and you have to be willing to put yourself out there. And that was something, again, that was one of the hardest lessons for me to learn as an entrepreneur. When I had my book published in March, I went through this huge crushing fear almost of having the book published, because then, oh my gosh, that was a huge visibility thing. And what would happen then? So there's a lot of fear around being visible. There's fear of success. There's fear of rejection. There's fear of not living up to expectations. And that's a mindset. A lot of that's a mindset thing. But what happens is with getting clear on your brand and the branding piece, that confidence comes naturally because you've uncovered your strengths and you've uncovered your unique voice and your unique message. And so being visible becomes so much more effortless because you feel really good about it. So let's talk about some ways to get unstuck. Again, I kind of alluded to a few of those as I was going through, but you've got to get clear and decide what it is that you want. And this is a question that I asked myself when I was moving forward. And again, we go through sort of these, I hate to use the word because it's sort of, I cringe at buzzwords, but when you go through this up leveling in your business every so often, and with that comes a lot of these fears and obstacles and challenges. And so you need to ask yourself, what is more important to you? Your work or your ego? If the work and being of service is more important, you will get over your ego. So you've got to really commit to what you want. And it's okay to want what you want. Most of the time, all the time, I would say, if you're looking to just pursue fame, around being an online entrepreneur, it's not going to happen because there's nothing behind it. There's no substance. But if you're looking to be of service and you want to position yourself as a leader in your area of expertise, go for it. It's okay to want that. And there's nothing wrong with having that ambition for yourself. So you've got to commit to what you want and be okay with that. You need to embrace your unique strengths and gifts, and we all have them. And, there are lots of individual assessments that you can take out there. Strengths Finders 2.0 is a great one to get clear about your unique strengths. And the chances are is that you started your business because you believe you have a different way of doing the work that you do, right? You bring your special sauce to it. But somewhere along the line, we lose that. We lose sight of that. And we let these doubts come in and these fears and that compare and despair starts to take over. And we forget. We lose sight of our why. And we forget these things. So you've got to own these. You've got to own your gifts, not sweep them under the table and be like, oh, anybody could do that. No, nobody can. Not everybody else can. You're the only one that can do it in the way that you do it. And you also have to step away from what I call business voyeurism. And I did that for a long time when I first started out and looking at what everybody else is doing. What do their coaching packages look like? What are their programs? What's their business model? What are they doing with their website? You have to stop that at some point. You have enough information to do what you need to do to move you and your business forward. Another really great way to get unstuck is to create something. Get into motion. Action empowers and motivates. As soon as you see that you're feeling stuck and overwhelmed and spinning, just create something. It doesn't have to be anything huge. Maybe it's a 50-second video. Maybe it's a short audio. Maybe it's a blog post. Maybe it's some sort of infographic. It doesn't have to be anything huge. You don't have to go out and start creating an 8-week program. Just create something. Got a quote that you really love? Just, create an infographic around it and share it. Create something. Action empowers. Identify your cheerleaders. You have people in your space who think you and your work are awesome. Keep them close to you. They are invaluable. Not only your peers and colleagues, but mentors, coaches that you hire. Part of the reason you hire them is because so they are your cheerleaders, so they get you out of being stuck. It's not just for their expertise around their particular area, whether it's a business coach, a marketing coach, a copy coach, a branding specialist, whatever. A health coach if you're wanting to improve your health and eat better and all those kinds of things. You're also hiring them to be a cheerleader for you. Let them. Keep your cheerleaders very close. So this is one of my favorite quotes. Confidence doesn't come when you have all the answers. It comes when you are ready to face all of the questions. And that's really important because so much of branding revolves around answering questions. It revolves around knowing the right questions and then finding the answers. So I talked also about the one element that you must have, and it is your brand style brief. And I have found, like I said, a shocking number of entrepreneurs do not have one of these. And honestly, I'm shocked by that because it's so important to your business. If you're taking your business seriously, you need a brand style brief. It's also known as a brand Bible, a brand style guide, a design guide, a creative brief, a signature style guide. You'll see it under several of those names as well. And I have seen even personal brands, people who aren't necessarily entrepreneurs, but they have created brand style briefs for themselves, for their personal websites, for their resumes and things like that. And it's a compilation of all of those brand elements that we talked about in one easy to find place. And this is so important because chances are you're not going to work entirely by yourself, right? As an entrepreneur, you might hire a VA, an assistant. You might have a team with your online business manager. You might have a copywriter that you hire, or a web designer, or any number of people could be coming and going on your team, or you could contract something out. This allows you to give them something so that they thoroughly understand your brand inside and out. This makes hiring a web designer so much more easy, because you have everything about you and your business right there for that web designer. And I know this because I worked very closely when I had my website redesigned a few years ago. I worked with a very wonderful, intuitive web designer. But as good as she was, some of the questions that I ask around the branding process, she didn't have any idea. She's there to design your website, and she gives input and feedback, and asks you some questions, but didn't dive really deep into that brand piece. And that's not what her specialization was. Her specialization was designing gorgeous websites based on the brand that business wanted to convey. So this is a critical piece of the puzzle. And then what your brand needs to have, as I said before, is that brand experience. This is what keeps clients coming back to you. This is what gives you great testimonials. This is what makes your clients refer other people to you. This is what positions you as a leader. This is what positions your brand to the forefront in your area of expertise. It's the brand experience. And this is basically a clear path for your right clients, for your good fit people. This allows them to go on a journey with you. So what that means is, just as a tangible example, if somebody lands on your website, they know exactly what that first step is for them to take. And then you have clearly set up a path as to what the next step is, and then the next step, and then the next step. And they know exactly what to expect from you. This is where this consistency piece comes in. It's not so much about, changing colors on your website and moving the furniture around and tweaking and playing with all those things. It's the experience that your good fit people have with you. It's the vibe that you put out there. And you can see, this is a mood board that a client and I created, and everything from the topography, you can see there, it's a fun, bright color. You can see the hue, the palette color. You can see the languaging that we're talking about. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. This is for somebody who is a creative entrepreneur who approached everything from this provocateur archetype of being fun and living in the moment and being present. And so, that's the experience that her clients get from her. And she can deliver on that time and time again. So the brand experience that you're creating is so important to getting your business where you want it to go. How are we doing on time here? 2:40. Oh, let me grab a quick drink. So a brand experience gives you raving fans. As I said before, those fans who gladly send people your way, dream clients to work with, because you get them and they know you get them. And we all want to work with people that we feel get us. It gives you your own unique brand positioning. It boosts your credibility, and it gives you so much clarity. And that is what brings about this confident, sexy brand. That clarity, having that clarity. Because if you think about it, think about who you have as role models and who you may have been emulating, right? They are so clear on their brand. and you would never catch them doing things that would be off brand for them. So the question is, are you willing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable? That's part of a strong brand as well. There's always a little bit of discomfort there. Always a little bit of, before you hit publish on something or before you put something out there in the world, and that's okay because you've gotten all these brand pieces in place. And so you have a great deal of confidence around that. So brand beyond compare is about taking your brand beyond the norm and getting to the next level, whatever that level is for you. I'm not going to tell you that working with me is going to solve everything maybe that's going on in your business, or that it's a magic pill, or that you're going to immediately have a 6-figure business in the next 3 months. You know, you could figure this branding thing out on your own. But what I do know is that working with a brand specialist like me will get you a level of clarity that you have never experienced before. You will make smarter and more strategic decisions in your business moving forward. You know exactly what your business needs, because of the brand, you'll know exactly what you need in 2016 moving forward, because you will have such clarity around this. Facebook or your brand. Otherwise, your brand. You have access to my talents and resource materials, things that I have created for myself that have done me well. So great client for testimony. Have a complete brand that your brand assets. This is huge. It's huge. Go to your brand. It's a lot of time. And also, your brand voice. community, making those connections. And your social media presence, because let's face it, first impressions are everything. And we'll look at all those things, all those pieces, and we'll put together a really beautiful mosaic. So who is Brand Beyond Compare coaching for? It is for creative, service-based women entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who know that the website tagline logo isn't working for them, and they need to get clear on their brand. Really, they recognize that their current brand doesn't really represent who they are and who they want to serve. And that's another piece that we'll get really clear on in this one-on-one program. Who are your good fit clients, your ideal dream clients? It's also for entrepreneurs who are tired of hiding in plain sight. That visibility piece, you're there, you're like yelling, I'm right here, but nobody's seeing you. Those who want their brand to be uniquely theirs and not to take on somebody else's vision or message. You're moving into a new space. And you believe that you are your business. You know, of course, there are boundaries and personal barriers and things like that that we have to figure out for ourselves. But ultimately, you are your business. And you want to find ways to market yourself without feeling icky or slimy. You know, you're not interested in doing the latest marketing tactic, or you've tried it and it didn't work and it felt really weird and off. And it's because you weren't clear on what your core value is for of your brand. So that's huge moving forward in 2016, because you'll know what marketing feels really good to you and how to incorporate it in your business. So, of course, I have some wonderful clients that I've worked with who can tell you a little bit about what it's like to work with me, what I call Brand Crush. And Amy Biondini said, Danielle has a unique take on branding. It's as much about you as it is about your business, and the insights you get are game-changing. Do it, you won't look back. I'm just finishing up with Danielle's program at the moment, and she has completely revolutionized how I think of my brand. I'm overhauling everything. So Amy worked with me over the summer in my signature program, Amplify, and she is just absolutely doing wonderfully. And I also want to show you a little bit of a before and after so you can get a sense of really what this branding thing means and how important it is. This is another Amy that came to me. And she is an online business manager. And this was her website on the left initially. It was Mosaic Business Solutions, bookkeeping, accounting, QuickBooks training, innovative solutions for your business. Nowhere on this website does it at all represent who Amy is. So in the work that we did together and what we uncovered, she took it to her web designer who absolutely 100% captured her brand. So on the right you can see how we incorporated Amy's language. Less worry, more awesome, we've got your back. She's huge music person and loves rock, and so we wanted to really bring a little bit of that edginess to her brand as an online business manager and not be that typical vision of what you would picture as a numbers person, somebody who does accounting. She didn't want her clients to be afraid and bored with having to think about numbers, and she wanted to make sure that they understood that she clearly communicated that she takes care of them. So we changed the language of Meet the Band, and that was her team, and then Crank It to 11, the White Hot Profits with the guitar, Rock Your Biz, Finances and Systems, with her training program, Go from GarageBand to Multi-Platinum with Rock Your Profit, you know, and the crowd goes wild. So this was really just a wonderful reinvention of her brand, a rebrand that was just absolutely incredible. And then there's this. When you work with Danielle, you get honesty, passion, and straightforward guidance. Danielle has helped me cut right through my confusion about branding. With her guidance, I now have a clear direction, both for myself and my business pursuits. Thank you, Danielle, for sharing your brilliance with me and helping me access my own clarity and spark. And that's from Jem McRobbie, Jem McRobbie Coaching, and best-selling author of Why Is She Acting So Weird, which is an amazing book. If you've ever had a serious illness and you have your friends just not knowing how to cope with that, you would definitely want that book. And this, brands are people first. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a person. I'm a sister, daughter, wife, auntie, friend, employer, and I'm a person. So when I first caught a glimpse of Danielle Miller over 2 years ago and her business building brand on my computer screen, I was instantly attracted to her as a person too. She is my business crush. Over the time I've known Danielle, it has become very clear that she's a person who cares about helping others clarify their purpose and unapologetically generate great incomes by being exactly who they are, the people behind their brands. She will take good care of you and your brand. That's Lynn Johnson, founder and CEO of People Forward. She's enjoying some wonderful vacation time in New Zealand right now. I'm so jealous. And this, I can personally attest to how deeply Danielle Miller cares about her clients. She'll work with you until you feel amazing about your branding. She's amazing at what she does. And if you're looking for someone who'll get you and help you create a brand you love, hire her. And that's Cassie Parks, best-selling author of Champagne Life and host of the podcast Happy Ever After, Stories and Strategies of Entrepreneurial Success. And finally, working with Danielle was an absolute pleasure. She's a calming presence in the face of stressed out energy, and she remains focused on getting you the outcome you need. Not only that, she does so efficiently and with a sense of fun that can't help but get you excited about the next chapter of your business journey. It was fun and easy. I felt like you really understood what I'm trying to do with my business and knew exactly where I wanted to go. You also didn't let me wallow in frustration at having to rebrand, but helped me see it as an opportunity to level up. As a result of working together, I feel like my web copy is going to write itself now. Jill Angie's a running coach. She's a founder of Not Your Average Runner, and she's absolutely, I can't even describe how amazing her business and her brand has exploded since we did the rebrand with her. And she had a very established brand before this, one that was a very challenging one to rebrand because she was in love with it. But for various reasons, we had to rebrand. So it was pretty powerful working with her. So if you know that Brand Beyond Compare Coaching is right for you, I have a surprise for you. If you book your slot for Brand Beyond Compare Coaching by Friday, November 27th, I'm not going to call it Black Friday. I don't buy into that stuff. But you'll also receive free access to my signature brand course, Amplify in 2016, which will be launching end of February, beginning of March is what we're looking at right now. It's going to be coming back bigger and better. As I said, it's my signature program. I launched it this year in June. It did very, very well. People absolutely loved it. And that program is something that you'll have always because you have lifetime access to it. So whenever materials are updated, when I do the live coaching again, you're in. So that's a really, really valuable thing. That course went for $9.99 in the summertime. There will be an increase of $500, and it'll be $14.97 the next time I offer it. So it is actually a $14.97 value, and you'll have access to that. So if you're ready to Brand Beyond Compare, your investment for 6 weeks of one-on-one coaching and brand clarity like you have never had before is $19.97 to pay in full or 2 payments of $1,000. And you can see the link there. It's daniellemiller.com/brand-beyond-compare/ Also, hey, reach out to me if you are thinking that this is something that you would like to do, but maybe the payments aren't quite, maybe you can't do the 2 payments of $1,000 each. I can work with you on a payment plan. I want you to have access to this. This is coaching like you've never had before. It is for a very limited time. I'm going to be offering it again in 2016 a little bit differently and for a significantly higher investment. So again, this is not group coaching. This is one-on-one coaching with me for 6 weeks working on your brand for the price of $19.97. So I want to thank you. It's 3 o'clock straight up. I did go a little bit longer. Like I said, I was hoping to finish up within the hour. I do want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. I deeply appreciate the investment of your time, effort, and energy. And you can download what I call the brand checklist. It's your gift today for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. And you can go to daniellemiller.com/amplify brand checklist / to get that free gift. It will be available as long as the replay is up. And again, I just want to remind you that if you sign up, and again, I have 15 spots available for this program. And once they're gone, they're gone. That's all I'm doing. And if you sign up by this Friday, November 27th, you'll have free access to my signature program, Amplify, when it launches in early 2016. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, pop in, see if there's any questions I need to answer, and I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. All right, let me do that. Hi, hey, I'm back. All right, let me just check here, see what we've got going on. Oh, I see. Oh, is it still breaking up? That's so weird. Like I see it like. Oh no. Hopefully the replay will be okay, Jim. Well, now it's stopped. Now it seems the little bubble boxes were flickering, but now they're not. So hopefully it will be okay. Shoot. I did not see. See, usually I check the chat and make sure everything's okay, but I thought I had everything under control today, so I did not do that. Hopefully the replay will be good. The replay will be up for 24 hours if you were not able to join me live, and hopefully you'll be able to get everything from that. I'm going to go back as soon as I stop the recording and make sure that that's okay. I hope so. You'll also get notification to view the replay. So if you weren't here for the live call, you'll have that as well. And hopefully that's clear. Hopefully that's not breaking up. I'm really, really sorry about that. Darn. Technology is so much fun, isn't it? So, again, I want to thank you for your time and attention today. I'm going to stop the live broadcast and hop over to the chat and see if there's any questions to answer. And I hope if you're in the States, you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday, and I'll look forward to talking with you soon. All right, thanks again. Take care.